Anyway, welcome, and we're glad you're here. It is Women's History Month, and there are a few more resources for women entrepreneurs that I would like to tell you about. The Women United Luncheon, which is sponsored by the United Way. The Lead Forward Roundtables, and it's at orlando.org. And if you search for it, if you just do it orlando.org, you can find it, or I can even send you this link later. But those are the leadership roundtables. And then the Athena Power Link, they have grants for women entrepreneurs. And so if you want those, just go to orlando.com. Today, we're going to be hearing from Caroline Logue of Central Florida Tech Grove, and we're going to be hearing from Dennis Pape of SeedFunders. But before we do that, let's talk about how 1 Million Cups is a community. It's a community of entrepreneurs, of people who get to know each other and who work together, help each other grow our business. We support each other, give advice, provide referrals, provide resources. So we do that. We do that by educating, engaging, and connecting. Educate everybody by having people like Carol Ann and Dennis come in and talk to us about their organization. And we educate by asking questions and providing feedback and giving criticism. We engage by meeting each other out in the lobby out here or talking in here. And then we connect and deepen those relationships. And we have coffee, we foxtail after this, or we have lunch, or we Zoom call or phone call. We get to know each other better. We become the people that we like and trust, not just to do business with, but to help each other with our businesses. You know, we meet and answer questions, we give advice. I know Jim meets with a lot of entrepreneurs and just gives advice about how to run their business and how to protect their business. I like to meet with people and talk about social media marketing and content marketing. How do you do that for your business? And so we become those resources for each other. That's how we build a community. And so it's great. I'm seeing the community because people like Rupert and VJ are running Orlandopreneur, and I go and I see a lot of people that I know. And I come in here and I see Dennis and Carol Ann know a lot of people, and they know each other. And so it's it's not an introduction, it's a re-meeting and a re-welcoming each other. So that's what I like to see. Welcome to our new visitors. How many people are here for the first time? Joy, how did you hear about this? So this is actually one of the times in my life where the two things that I do actually cross over. A lot of you don't know, but I'm involved in the Jack Kerouac project up in Orlando. I'm president. A lot of my writer friends don't know that I deal with filthy dirty Luther and I'm an entrepreneur. So here, Joy is the current writer in residence at Jack Kerouac House, which is here for fiance. He came down from Massachusetts just for this meeting. No. Just to be in the residency for 3 months. And Joy has her own business, and so I invited her to come, and she's hopefully going to present about it in a few weeks and about how professional writers. Anyone else? Kathy, is this your first? Yes.
Oh, first time here. Now I've been over to Rollins before.
Okay. Welcome back.
And we'll be back there again.
And Brooke, is this your first time?
Yes, it's my first time attending. I started at the show.
Great. Well, welcome. The 1 Million Cups Organizing Committee is run by the people who help make this event happen each week. We meet either before meeting on Wednesday morning, or some of us meet at Donut Central and Fuel Presso, which is up on Cimarron and Loma. We meet there Friday mornings at 9 a.m. and you're welcome to join us. You don't have to be on the organizing committee, just have to like donuts and coffee. But we are the people who make this event happen each week. And we talk about how do we grow the organization, how to find new speakers, when are we going to move, fill up a room, and so all those things. So thank you, everybody who was on the organizing committee. Stand up. Too embarrassing. I'm stoic. Yeah, stoic Dan, yes.
So, okay.
So we are supported by Navo of Orlando, SCORE, Virtual Entrepreneurs, and Orlando Entrepreneurs. We are also sponsored by UCF Business Incubator, which is where we're sitting now. Sly Coffee. Peter brings the coffee. Go, Peter.
Skedaddle.
Oh, but he brings coffee this morning. Although we did run out, so Amy made some more. So if you didn't get the coffee, there's still time for a refill. Denny brings the donuts, and he's the Donut King. And Scott Hill of Technology is in the back. He is videoing this event, and we will have it up on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel in the next few weeks. So if you missed a presentation or you want to see your presentation, thanks to Scott. We are also sponsored by Insurance. And here, there's Julie. Serendipity Labs, and that's where Deja runs the place. And Burnout Game Ventures, which is Rupert. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you have not presented yet, or if you have presented more than 6 months ago, you can do what Carol Ann and Dennis did and go to 1millioncups.com/Orlando and apply. And then you can get on the schedule and give a presentation. As a quick reminder, join us on meetup.com. That's where we send out all of our meeting notifications. Follow us on M1MC Orlando on Instagram, and Deja has been running our Instagram account, and it looks so much better than what I was doing. So thank you, Deja. We do need sponsors. We're looking for sponsors for like additional marketing swag. I want to be able to give out cards that have a little QR code that points to our webpage. That would have been great on Monday at Orlando because I told you. And then finally, invite your friends. I invited Joy and Eric, so I got 2 for the week, so you guys need to catch up. So now let's welcome Carol and Logue.
During my presentation, I just would like to make an additional statement about Athena Powerley. Remember, Athena Powerley, while there is assistance pursuing grants and other capital, the real core of Athena Powerley Orlando is if you are a woman-owned business at a certain stage, we provide a 1-year volunteer advisory board that really transforms your strategic business focus. And it's amazing what we're seeing in the impact. So if you're interested at all, check it out. How many of you do business with the Department of Defense? If you thought about it and thought that's way too much trouble. Okay. Or maybe you thought about it and said, well, I don't think they'd be interested in what I have. Oh. What I have to share with you today may or may not be relevant to you, but you're in this room, you are a connector, and there is somebody that it will. I'm going to breeze through this presentation. It's a little longer than 6-minute presentation if I give it all, but I want to tell you. What you may not know is that Central Florida, specifically the Central Florida Research Park, is the epicenter, the global epicenter of training simulation for the U.S. military. And this is not new. This started right after World War II. The Navy planted the early simulation team here, and it has only grown since then. I'm not going to tell you what all these logos need. I'd love to have a chance for you to come out and visit Tech Grove, and I'll dig into this with you. But suffice it to say that all 4 services, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps, have commands here in Central Florida and Research Park where they spend billions of dollars every year buying products and services to support training, readiness, human performance of our men and women in service. Over the years, other government agencies have joined them, other parts of the Department of Defense. There's just a whole community that many people around here don't know about that supports the military. And we live together. That's all I'm gonna say about this picture. It is literally a community. We are all in these buildings in Research Park, co-located together. Rotary and UCF, hundreds of companies and industry here in Central Florida and beyond. That are part of this world. A lot of opportunities to attend events that the services do, the military organizations do, for you to hear about what they're doing and what's important to them. But what I really am here today to tell you about, obviously, is my other wording went on there, but that's okay. Central Florida Tech Growth. We were established 3 years ago as a defense innovation center. And that means that we exist to help you meet people in this space, whether they're in uniform, whether they're civilians, whether they're industry folks already in this space, or like you, they're just curious about learning. What does this mean? What the heck is simulation and training? What all matters? What is really unique about us is there are dozens around the defense innovation centers that are part of the community. But there is no other defense innovation center in the country that is funded by more than one military service. We are funded by Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Space Force, as well as Office of Naval Research, and 2 other entities of so we have a lot of customers, and the beauty is that you don't come to us and just find out about the Navy, find out about what's going on across the Department of Defense. This is our focus. We use this term human performance, and it is all encompassing. It is not just about training our sailors who are out at sea or on a submarine. It's not just about training fighter pilots or somebody that's in the battlefield trying to train, or our space guardians that are trying to figure out, when's World War III going to start in space, because that is where it will be. It is about training, performance, and readiness across all aspects. It's everything from maintenance, from business processes, leadership training. It is amazing the variety of training and simulation equips that our customers are. What I really want you to pay attention to is here along the bottom, because these are some of the primary enabling technologies and areas of innovation that underpin this world that we support. It's not just about somebody in a virtual reality headset. That's what a lot of people think about when we talk about simulation. And that's a little piece of it, because that is a tool, that is a technical space, but it is absolutely not. Here is our mission, tech growth. We need more companies to do business. Those of you that are in strictly commercial industry, but have really leading edge innovations that may fall in some of those sectors that you saw along the bottom, there's a place for you in this industry, because Department of Defense, our federal government in general, is not where the leading edge innovations happen in space. They can't move that fast. We're helping them move faster by finding out about amazing things that we're doing, other companies are doing. Technology transfer, that happens in a number of ways. Many times it's a creative partnership with one of our government agencies to share knowledge, share information, and begin to create a solution. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we're trying to help solve problems more rapidly. They're able to move to government decision. There are a lot of ways, opportunities for you to physically come to Tech Grove, or just like those of you that are online this morning, to virtually. Except for one event on this list, everything else is hybrid. The one that's not hybrid is because it is really about networking. I am going to ask that you join us at some of these events. That's all. Just a few examples of some of the events we've done recently to give folks an opportunity to learn about our customers, learn about doing business with the Department of Defense. I love to show this slide because this is just a few examples of how we are connected with the community. So come to us, you need help with some other things. Odds are, have a relationship another organization here or across the state or the nation. Because our mission field is national. We're not just focused on Central Florida. We are drawing companies, academia, and even other government agencies across the country. And connect with us by these. There we go. Oh, here. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Our webpage is just about a whole new one about to be released. So we have to update it, but see it. Best thing to do is go to this QR code right here on the far left. Give us your contact information, get on our distribution list, and all you'll get is information about opportunities to attend, participate in one of those events that you saw listed, or opportunities such as the prize challenge that just went live with $1,000 cash prizes, or teams that come up with a very creative solution to a pain point that all of our customers share. It's called interoperability. Software from multiple sources talk to each other in a training environment. So go to our LinkedIn page and find out about that. We're hiring, just hired Brooke. We're hiring SBIR coordinator as well. So those are the kinds of things we get on that. I look forward to your questions. Yes, Bob.
We have founders that are very interested in part of events. What kind of qualifications do they need before they even start a conversation?
They need no qualification. The only qualification they need to start a conversation with us is that they want to know more about how to make this to the department of events.
And they have to be able to do business in this country.
Yes, generally, they're gonna U.S. citizens versus U.S. non-U.S. citizens, U.S. owned companies versus non-U.S. They're the farther you go in the process, and depending on what kind of relationship students, that would be different. But if they're a non-U.S. company, there are some ways to collaborate with U.S.-based companies. Yeah. And many times somebody who's new to this space, let's be honest, you've never done business with this. You have no past performance. You are not going to walk in the door and get a contract with the Navy or Army. It's just not there. But that's not how most businesses start doing business with them. They start by being on a team with a company that's already in space, or licensing their solution to a company that's in the space. There are lots of ways to approach this that aren't going to totally disrupt your current business model. Yes, sir.
So what's the, for somebody that's coming into the space for the first time, what's the typical on-ramp like schedule? What kind of time frame are we looking at, or are they looking at to from the time that they speak with you? And assuming they're all gung-ho and they cross their T's and dot their I's for you and everything.
I don't mean to sound like a lawyer, but
Sure.
it depends. That's what you'll hear, because it really does depend on what kind of government consultation they're pursuing. For example, if it is a small business innovation research grant or contract, that cycle can be 12 to 18 months. If it is what we call a cooperative research and development, however, where you come into Tech Grow, we find out about what you're doing, what your solution is, what the value proposition is that it really offers, and we introduce you to one of our government customers that your solution aligns with. There may be an opportunity to put in place what we call cooperative research and development. This is a really interesting acquisition tool that's not as much as we'd like to see. Money doesn't change hands. That's the downside. You don't get money, but you bring your capability, bring your knowledge, bring your assets to the table. The government brings their assets to such methods, perhaps even access to equipment, training platforms, where you work together in a cooperative manner to move toward proving that what you have has the potential to address the need they have. For example, we have several training platforms sitting in the road, or just like ones that are sitting behind the fence and stuff. And they're there so that come out and see a demonstration of the pilot training next aircraft simulators that the Air Force has sitting. You can talk with them about what are the capabilities they want to have, what are the needs they have to evolve this training, and then discuss putting a CRADA in place with them, bring your tools that you already have to the table to test in that environment, such better experts behind those training platforms, and see where there might be opportunity in the board. Yes,
We have a health service provider or something.
describe a health service provider.
Oh, people get sick.
That is going to be the Veterans Administration. This is a technology solution that we're talking about. Every government agency service across DoD, Veterans Administration is part of it, but DoD, try that. You know, there is a huge infrastructure supporting the personnel. At TechGrow and our customers, we're not focusing specifically on that. However, one of the other aspects of TechGrow engaging with us is that you're dealing with our customer, but those are the services we support. There are ways we can be a channel to get to other parts of all of those services. We've done that. We've had companies come to us that they're nowhere in this space. That's fine. But what they have is very something that the Air Force is working on somewhere else, or the Army's working on another cloud. So we're hard. And I don't know who was first. Yes, sir.
Program that you just describing a little while ago that the government, there's no exchange of hands, no dollars or money. But if I understand that particular program, isn't that one where the government does take ownership of whatever IP
Yes,
or
sir.
technology? No?
Yes, sir. In fact, there are very few instances where the government actually takes ownership of your intellectual property. Some cases may take software, for example, some changes going on. In almost every government contract, we'll find is the government retains rights to the intellectual property internally. I will tell you, in 25 years plus, probably of working with companies doing business with the federal government, to specifically NASA, never, ever, ever seen that clause exercised. It is there primarily because in the event the government has funded development of a technology or solution, and in a national security crisis, if you go under and you can't provide that anymore to them, and you're a critical solution for them, they need to be able to take that and find another company or. But again, I've never seen that exercise. It's there because keep us safe. Yes.
Kind of along the same lines, does a TechGrow sign non-disclosure agreement?
Not because every one of you in this room, you cannot come talk to me and tell me what the value is that you buy for capability. Not tell me what the problem is that you solve without feeling the technical details of it, the intellectual property pieces. Then I'm going to suggest you go to an option. I may sound pretty harsh here, but this is reality. Because I also director of the Business Incubation Program. Welcome to our house here in Orlando. And I get this question a lot. I don't care about how you make do something. That's not what's important to me. What's important to me, whether it's incubator program or TechGrow, is what's the problem you're solving and how are you solving it better than anybody else? How are you going to make life easier for our customers? And I don't need to know anything about how you algorithms or how you put together hardware components or anything else to do that. So a little bit of a soapbox there. You hit a hot button with email. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm an inventor, so
Ma'am?
I'm an inventor.
Yeah, but just in general, as many of you know, as an entrepreneur, that is a critical skill for you to learn, is to tell that story. Learn to tell your story in a way that you can talk to anybody, not reveal what is truly.
So let's say somebody comes to you, have that initial conversation, and you both agree that they're bringing something to the table that you believe your clients would appreciate. So what's the value for the entrepreneur or the inventor or whatever to establishing a long-term relationship with you and the services?
It is the opportunity to develop relationships, gain knowledge, and learn about where your capability solution fits in the space. That's not an overnight process. It's not a you come in and have a conversation, things happen. As you know, business development, that's not how it works. Government just seems to take a little bit longer. But by establishing a relationship with us and know about what our solution is, we're planning events in Texas. We're doing things like our innovation harvesting, focused on a particular area, like artificial intelligence or cybersecurity or something. We're going to reach out to invite companies that are in that space to showcase, demo to our community that comes, and that's the government, it's the Lockheed Martins of the world, it's university faculty that are with companies to collaborate with. So we are a place for you to connect, meet people you would not meet otherwise, to learn about business, learn about otherwise. Maybe at the end of the day you decide this is not for me, that's fine. But want to make that's it.
Yeah, but these long-term relationships create a lot of financial stability
Absolutely.
for entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Yes, sir. You've been.
Well, yeah, I'm a little confused, so there's no money that the government ever gives to so far.
I did
No.
not, no, that is,
So,
did not say, I said.
good,
this
then I
is-
can ask my question,
Yes,
that's probably.
yes. The specific type of agreement, the corporate research development agreement that I use is one way to engage, is a great early way to engage. No money changes hands, that is one of the very, because by law, the government cannot accept free services or products. They have to.
My question is, back when I was a kid, you hear that they spent $80,000 on a screw and $100,000 on a toilet seat, and, for NASA maybe, but those contracts, you're like, that's ridiculous. I mean, do they still do that, or?
So you understand the conditions under which those components need to operate. Are things, does government spend a lot of money for things, maybe more than they need to? Well, do I spend more money than I should for things? Absolutely. But what is usually missing in those comments is understanding the environment, the ruggedness with which these products have to operate, stress and strain and the dynamics of the environment they're in, whether it's battlefield, shipboard, airplanes. It's, it is not a product you're going to go to GW and buy or Best Buy or buy on Amazon. Those strict commercial products, they have to be a lower price point, but they are not going to survive.
Where were you when I was a kid, man?
Probably still on the farm. Great questions. I love it.
If I may, one of the things that I did, I was a POD prime contractor for 8 years, and one of the things that we successfully used was a capabilities brief, which is basically like a 1 or 2 page thing that tells anybody in that sphere who you are and what you do and the value you provide, and then you just farm that out, you just pass it out to people and let them go through the process of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if it's changed since then, but, and you can let them go through the process, somebody else, a prime contractor, go through the process of going through, applying, all the stuff, the grant writing and all that stuff, and then they add you to the contract, right, as part of the team, and then you get in that way. That's a low fence to go over, comparatively speaking, if you want to, but basically it fulfills the same thing.
And so here I'm going to put a plug in for your colleagues that reside right across the street, National Entrepreneur Center. If you are interested at all in learning more about business with federal government in general, not just DOD, but whatever you're doing, some federal agency probably. Go to the National Entrepreneur Center, either online or in person, and schedule a meeting with the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. This is a program funded by the Small Business Administration. It's across the country. Those Procurement Technical Assistance Centers in Texas. They exist to help companies, entrepreneurs like you, do business with the government, not just federal, state, city, county. Highly encourage you to go through their 4, 5, 6 week workshop program and questions.
Well, we have one more question. What can we as a community?
Spread the word. Come attend our events, learn more, spread the word. Even if you're not interested or don't think doing business with the department is for you, you live in this community. This industry is an extraordinary driver of the economy of this community, way beyond what I've told you about today. You look at the fact that electronic arts is here, that, you know, there is so much in this community that is birthed out of this decades-long concentration to you. It's just important for you to know this about it.
Yes, we do have a couple of quick announcements. If anybody's got one, Chip, what do you have?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Chip Russell. This is my lovely wife, Lily. We wrote a book called Jungle Child, Born in the Jungles of Vietnam. And this morning I said, can I make a few words about this? And they say, see, Eric. And I said, oh, Eric. Eric happens to be a presenter at the Winter Park Public Library Book Festival, where I will be presenting my book, and he will also be presenting his speech about
Humor
writing. And so we're going to talk about Lily and Mr. Rogers. This is about mindset. We're also going to talk about Lily and money. So I hope you all come. If you're interested, if I spark your curiosity, come by, say hi, and learn a few things about how to change your mindset, about our story together. Her story, actually, is about her journey from Vietnam to America. Wow, what a crazy trip that was. So yeah, I hope you can all come. Hey, who's coming?
What was the date?
What is that? Saturday,
Saturday, what time?
10 to
Yeah.
Winter Park Public Library on Forest Boulevard, close to Mills. Beautiful new architectural building.
Still got the
If you
new
haven't been
books.
there,
Yeah,
love it.
yes.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
It's scary, so I did not realize Saturday. It just says, hey, I'm gonna get this thing at the library. And he showed me, yeah, you speak at 10:30, so I will be there at 10:30.
10 o'clock.
I will be there at 10:30. I'm 12 professional humor writing secrets. I've been a newspaper humor columnist for 27 years, and so learned a thing or two. Don't learn what that is, go there. It's all free.
Yes.
From 10 to 2.
10 to 2, Winter Park Public Library.
Forest
So, Monday night, Orlandopreneur had their third monthly happy hour event and just under 100 people showed up. And it was, the reviews we're getting, it's like 4.9 stars out of 5. And people are really enjoying the opportunity to meet new people, to establish new relationships, identify new opportunities, and learn about things that they didn't know about before. That you know, being an entrepreneur, you see opportunities. So, so it's a great event. So it's held the third Monday of every month. So the next one's going to be on April 17th, and this one we're moving to Lake Mary because we're going to be inclusive. We're trying to draw in, literally and figuratively, draw in all the different hubs, so to speak, and sub ecosystems in town to, you know, to the base, which is downtown. So third Monday of the month, Orlandopreneur happy hour, first drinks on us.
Where in Lake Mary? You recall
Where-
where in Lake Mary?
It's going to be at the Orange County Brewing on International Parkway.
So let my drink tickets are good for next.
It's from 5:30 to 8 p.m.
Deja.
One thing really quick, couple of things. First thing, with Serendipity Labs Orlando, I run our meeting and event program there. We are currently seeking speakers for lunch and learns. We have a couple of panels coming up. And so if you or someone you know has a, valuable message that, can help an entrepreneur, help a small business owner, even just the regular 9-to-5 employee, because we have a lot of those as well in our space. Serendipity Labs, by the way, is a premium co-working space located right next to City Hall. Please connect with me after. I'd love to see if you guys are a great fit for our speaker program. The second thing, I run a group out of Serendipity Labs Orlando called TNT, that stands for Trying New Things. It is a group for the entrepreneur, and the person with an idea. It's very young and energetic space. We met yesterday. We did a lot of facilitated networking. And so we've got activities and programming. And if you know someone who has an idea or is working on a business, invite them to this first. And then definitely share TNT with them. We're seeing a lot of value out of coming into those events. We're on Meetup at TNT Network Orlando. Additionally, to connect personally, we meet on the first Tuesday and the third Tuesday of Thank you.
When we meet,
We meet at Serendipity Labs.
Downtown.
Yes.
All right. John, you look good. Next, Dennis Pape from SeedFunders Orlando. Okay. Right here. Well, this is a little bit. So. We started SeedFunders and fall of 2019. So, some efficient. So, first presentation. Was attending joint after that presentation. So, thank you. Here's what we do. We provide investment capital and venturing connections, pre-revenue, high growth, central Florida technology startups to accelerate their growth and success. Just mention partner here, Dave Chittister. We both have entrepreneurial backgrounds. Dave founded. We have 3 organizations here, for 3 locations. Dave founded the first location. CEO is that's the largest one. Here in Orlando, we started. We have 16 members, and Dave has started chapter. The beauty of our system is that we primarily each of our organizations concentrates on startups in the region, but we're all interconnected and we have a joint meeting twice a month. And so partners that are in these locations see opportunities to throughout the state. And because we're on the ground in three areas, we're able to source opportunities. So I wanted to show people there's what happens in the world and how that maps into how startups so that you've got an idea, and I call it the first phase, having the product development. You're validating product, value proposition, or product market fit. Looking for, is this a business? It basically, I demonstrate something that there really is a business. We call that the product phase of. Next is, hey, I've got a minimum viable product. Is there a market there for it? Getting that into the hands of a customer is critical to start getting feedback about your product. And then it's about developing customers, developing not only those alpha and beta customers, but now getting some next marker and milestone. That's when you actually have some customers that are repeatedly buying something. It's not a test. It's not a consulting business. That's something standard product that are buying a process for customers. And then beyond that, it's just scaling up. It's getting more revenue, scaling sales development, scaling. And where we are is in this phase right here, customer development. When you start out with an idea, primarily in getting a product, primarily you're getting funded by friends and family, getting funded by, well, actually, capital, by individual angel investors, pitching it at events and getting awards, grants, SBIR, Carolyn mentioned SBIR contracts, which are great because that's not giving up equity, and that's the primary fund here. Where we sit is the next phase. You've got a minimum viable product. We're starting to get some customer traction, and part of our due diligence process is not only understanding the minimum viable product and its capabilities, but is this a business? That's a big part of our due diligence process. So being able to call a customer using the product, not necessarily as bought it, but using it, we can understand the buyer, what value does it. And since you're in the marketplace, that customer is part of this marketplace, find out more about how, are other people like you likely to buy it, etc. So that's a big milestone for us. And so our capital goes into companies at that stage, and then starting to develop their customers. The next level, I call it early stage venture capital. You might know that here locally, that would be, for example, for capital. As an example, they're looking for companies that now have some minimum viable repeatability, selling product. They've got a little bit of revenue, and they're looking to put more capital at sales at later stage capital. There's that motion that later stage capital allow them to tremendously scale. So that is That was, that happened. So I talked about a couple of gaps. One is don't have enough, there's not enough money in here, so we're filling that gap. We certainly, I think that there's a lot more capital. Yeah, so that's one gap. So I call it the growth startup capital gap. We also have an accredited investor gap. The members of our organization and most all organized and seed capital groups are accredited investors. So there's a specific definition from the Securities and Exchange Commission. $200,000 in $1 million net worth. And I estimate that there's about 45,000 of those people in the for what's our problem? The problem is there's 100 of them that are actually investing in private startups. A few hundred out of 45,000. Now one might say, well, why is that? Well, first off, it's outside the comfort zone. What is their comfort zone? A good number of those people that real estate, hospitality, our chief industry base here in Canada, and they haven't made money in manufacturing businesses or tech businesses. So they reinvest in the things that they don't have time to, that they don't know how to, they don't know how to regulate tech, they don't know how to structure. They have all small. Fill that gap for both sides of this equation. For accredited investors buy a home where they can learn how to structure the deal and they can learn how to structure the opportunities they don't have time to or don't have. So it's a great opportunity for accredited investors. It also allows them to diversify their investments. One of the chief risk items for investing is the fact that if you just invest in, let's say, one opportunity here, that's all you have time to evaluate. Probably not going to return your capital because you need to have, it's just like a mutual fund. You need to diversify, you need to have a portfolio of investments. And most people don't have, unless you want to become a professional investor. So we provide that for scaling startups, obviously, with the credit. Since in 2019, when we were presented here, we had no investments. And so just wanted to what progress that you guys made. We've actually invested in the Central Florida area in these 7 startups. And I told you about the fact that we're connected to St. Petersburg and Miami. So our members through those connections have invested for the 7 companies in St. Tampa Bay region, as well as Miami. Blue Halo catheter catheter. I made sure that acquired by Silicon Prairie recently, basically a platform for action investment platform, Swift pause and non technology to it's actually for pets and it's exercise. So we were chasing, of course, TSO Live. It's actually in scale up on Excel.
An incubator crash.
And then you can use that, ticketing space, Caliban, another startups and SpaceX engine, the Smart Seeding Fishing and Connect, which is a Lake Mary company that's developed a platform growth off management platform. So
And to answer your question, where we looking like scripted for us? I'll answer the question. Join us. If you're accredited investor and you're interested in learning, send me an email, talk to me now, and we'll do a choose your meetings and start thinking about the system. You're a high growth entrepreneur, if you fit in that segment that I just talked about, apply for funding in your site. And that's it. Yeah, anything else? Yes, sir.
So what's like your minimum and maximum time?
So we're primarily in the 100 to 100 check size that we find is primarily it's gonna first check the start effort. Yeah. That's in that range. We've had as much as two. We've had as 50. Part of it depends. So we do not have, this is not a fund, but it's a group of individuals. And so it's a little bit of some people call it a pass the hat. So
Like a family on.
so we go around to all of our members, say, interested in it. And, you know, the minimum from our members, the minimum is $5,000. So we get 10 people interested at 5, somebody's interested, bring it to 10. So that's kind of how we come up.
Or like an angel group, like
That
that.
checks out.
It's a pretty tight angel group where there's no requirement to invest, but there's option to invest in every year. And just before we get to this, but there's TSO Life, by the way, was mentioned. That was our first investment. We invested 150,000 in TSO Life, a 1.5 million post money valuation. They just closed a Series A for 24 million post 2 months ago. So, if anyone's gonna ask about success story, there's no exit yet. We haven't, done any money in hand. Their valuation is.
Calagon just.
And Calagon as well.
We invested in Calagon. By the way, most of our investments are in collaboration. Information others. So that I said 150,000, that's not the total amount that's going up this way. And so we put in probably 1,000 Calagon. I think the valuation there $2.5 million. $2 million. Evaluation six and a half. So unrealized gain for us. And Wave Venture, by the way, the Wave Venture capital works is it raise additional capital with tranches along to an exit. So typically is an acquisition. And if there's an acquisition, then all the people invested from us, all the amounts are paid off. But in proportion how much equity. But we don't realize that gain until that exit happens. Because no investor wants to put on a later tranche and have some of that money go back, pay off earlier invested. So that's how it's.
You've answered my question. So your equity. We do both equity and convertible notes.
For equity, but we do also. So what you're saying? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Very flexible.
yes.
So, if say you have what you think valuable, novel, great idea, make your company, and you think you've got a good team, where do you recommend starting?
So that's in that first phase. And getting together a pitch and just starting to talk to first network. networking. And looking for capital, putting in some of the capital. Most investors, in fact, say, geez, if the founder is not invested in it, why should we? Right? So that's important. Just getting the word out and attracting talented people, attracting angel investors around town, and you can find them a lot from most individual angel investors that count. They're not going to raise their hand and say, "I'm still investor, come send me." Typically, folks by just networking, they'll find out about you. Through attorneys, CPAs, folks like that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just a quick question. I'm sorry, Sean.
Financial advice.
Like Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
We
we have one of our partners, one of our advisors, Miami, John Cole, been around. Question of what, based on his financial, what is going to go on? John says, this will be my 6th downturn since I've been involved in this industry. And what I've learned is that the level that we invest at, not much is going to change. The Series A, Series B, these people looking out for growth funding out here, they're going to have a tougher time.
The valuations are going to go down.
Yeah. So at our level, we see every deal in the state, and there's not going to be much change in what we're.
Could you, you want to say your check sector, widen that view and invest in, say, a venture, an indie venture of a gentleman who's a director at Pixar and has a background and.
So it's different. So investing in those kinds of opportunities, there are investments, just typically not something because it's very yes, it has a higher risk profile. But typically higher risk profiles, if it hits, it's a higher return.
Right.
And you go to a bank. But in general, a mutual fund, very low risk, but very low. So that's on a risk profile, but typically. Wow.
Right, okay.
Thanks very much.
If I may add to that, 4 of those companies that they had up on the screen there, and including the aforementioned Fat Merchant Sachs, benefited from 1 million cups by presenting here first before they went on to there. So any of you interested, in getting to them in a better position for them, you need to sign up and present 1 million cups.
All right. Next week, we're going to hear from Mike Grassi of 217 or 2017? 17 studio. We are looking for another speaker, so Tom might get somebody, but yeah. If you are on the Zoom call now, you can download the chat. If you want to chat for me here, just email me at eric.deckers@gmail.com. That's ERIK. That's right. Join us on meetup.com and connect with somebody that you met with here today. That's how we build community. We meet, talk, we know each other, we help each other grow. So let's go out and do that. Thank you.